Hello. Welcome back, everybody, to The Activity Continues. Amy's drinking.
Sorry, I missed my cue. So when we were in the development stage of this show, I reached out to some Facebook groups that I'm in looking for ideas for names for the show. And I had said that whoever gave us the name that we ended up choosing would get a shout out in our first episode. But I'm a dumbass and I forgot to give them credit in our first episode or even in our second. So here's my apology and thank you to Shannon Briner, who suggested the name. The Activity Continues. We loved it. We used it. And we are very grateful to her.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, Shannon. She's from the group Streamerinos, which is a My Favorite Murder offshoot group that discusses shows that are on streaming platforms.
I wonder how many offshoots of My Favorite Murder groups there are. There has to be like thousands.
Yes. I'm going to guess at least a couple thousand.
Yeah.
Because I think I'm in like 10.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah. So Shannon, thank you very, very much. And I'm so sorry that I spaced on mentioning you in our first couple of episodes. But here is your thank you and our gratitude.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Other little things of note. Well, this is not little. We got a new Twitter follower this week. And trust me when I say I legit squealed when I saw who followed us. Mm-hmm. I sent Megan a screenshot, and I believe her response was, shut the fuck up, all in caps.
All in caps. And if memory serves, it was like, shut, period,
yep.
The period, fuck, period, up.
Exactly. Yep. Megan, do you want to tell the lovely people who it was?
Are you all sitting down? Because it is Amy fucking Allen.
I know.
She followed us.
The real one, too.
The real one.
Trust me, I've been followed by the fake ones before, and I know which ones are fake and which ones are real. It was the real Amy Allen on Twitter.
I almost shit my pants.
I know.
I'm like telling everybody I know and people I don't. Like people I don't. I'm like, hi, I'm Megan. Amy Allen follows me on Twitter. And they're like, please step away from me. This is a grocery store. I don't know you.
Ma'am, calm down. We don't know who you are, and we don't know who she is.
Step back. 6 feet.
That was pretty exciting, I have to say.
Oh, my God. I screamed.
So, Amy Allen, if you're listening, we love you.
We love you.
And we really hope you're listeling. And we hope that
the episode that I talk about today, I loved your hair. It was like 40s kind of pinup with a little purple on the bottom.
Yes, I remember when she did that.
Girl,
I loved that too.
It. Oh, I mean, I love all of your looks, but that one was especially cute.
Yes, yes. I love the pinup style. Really cute.
Yeah. And she can pull it off. I mean,
she can pull off anything. She looks good in all of it.
I know she does.
I know. So I had a personal goal of having 100 downloads before we release the second episode, which comes out tomorrow. By the time you hear this, it will already have been out a week. And I'm happy to say that on the eve of our release, that's today, we have 123 downloads.
What? And we're international.
We are international, baby. Okay, so, our downloads are 102 in the United States, 15 in Ireland. So, Ireland, we want to know who you are. Come on. Show yourselves.
Shout out because we love Ireland.
That's right. And 3 in Belgium, 2 in Canada, and 1 in France.
I studied in France in college, so I probably know the person in France who downloaded it.
You probably do.
We're probably best friends.
I'm studying French on Duolingo, and I have been for a couple of years, so...
Yeah, you have.
That should count for something. I think I'm at like 1,100 days in a row or something like that.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So anyway, that's the scoop there, and I'm pretty excited about that. Is there anything else we should cover? We already talked about our beverages. Megan had texted me earlier today and said, you know what, I want a White Russian. And I was like, ooh, that sounds good. And I remembered that I had 1 can of Cutwater White Russian in the back of the fridge that I had been saving for a special occasion.
And here it is.
Does it taste good? It does, yeah. Yeah. It's really good.
Mine is Dashfire Chai White Russian cocktail. So it's got White Russian made with vodka, cream, and chai bitters, and it is teeny, teeny, tiny. It's
a little mini.
It's like which is fine because I don't drink a lot, and so it's actually kind of the perfect size for me.
Yeah, I can drink, right? That's not my problem. My problem is that this is probably about 500 calories minimum.
That's okay.
Might even be more. But it's all it's only one I'm having. I'm just having the one.
So I think you go first this time.
I think I do.
I'm excited. And I have things to say.
I know.
My God.
You guys,
I have things to say.
Megan was texting me while she was
fired up
rewatching this, and she was like, oh my God, this person, blah, 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 and that person, blah. And I watched this one not too long ago. It's season 9, is that right?
Yep, episode 4, Jumped.
And so I watched it, I don't know, a couple of months ago. So I remembered some of it. And then I saw a little bit more today when I was pulling out the sound bites. And I remembered it. I didn't remember all of it, but I'm curious to hear
I have feelings.
What you have to say about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so I'll try not to gasp too much. But
oh, that's okay. You can gasp. I can always cut it out. No, I like your gasps.
Hey, cut it out.
So I noticed that I know you did that in the first episode, and then you did it in the second episode.
Did I really?
Yeah. I think you have to do that in every episode.
Now I feel stupid.
No.
I didn't even know I did it that
It's
much.
Funny. Okay, so I am covering season 13, episode 6 on Hulu. To be honest, I didn't check on Discovery to see what number it is. This is one that Megan suggested that I do because I think it was when we were recording our trailer. I had shared my screen and I had the drive open.
Book.
Yeah,
Yep.
and I was showing Megan all the different notes I had been taking and the pictures I had snapped of the sketches and stuff. And she saw a sketch from this one. And she was like, I need to see what that is. I want to know all about this. And so she's been asking me when are you going to do that one? When are you going to do that one? So
you're very nice. It's honestly, I've been hounding you.
No, I didn't feel that way.
Amy's like, God, I don't know what episode to do. And I'm like, 13.6. Episode 13.6. So.
I'm like, I didn't even know which one that is.
No.
And then I looked it up.
I was like, demons. It's got demons.
Alrighty. So
we're like one sentence in at this point.
Yeah. We've been recording for 30 minutes and
one sentence in. It's going great.
Well,
we got to gab.
Yeah, we got to gab a little bit, and we don't want to gab too much,
right?
Because people don't like that.
Then Amy's got to cut a lot.
Yeah, I'll just cut it all out anyway. So when I saw the sketch for this one, I was like, I don't even know if that's really the sketch that Megan saw because it's not that scary. Mm-hmm. It's actually kind of cute.
We'll see.
We'll see. You can tell us. So in this season, in the prologue, at one point, Amy says, the dark is getting darker. And every time I hear that, my brain does a call and response with, and Leon's getting larger.
What's that from?
It's from the movie Airplane.
Oh, yeah. With Leslie Nielsen?
Leslie Nielsen. Yeah. And that goofy guy that would run around and do stuff. Like, it's a big, pretty white plane with curtains in the windows and wheels, and it looks like a big Tylenol. I know most of that movie. But anyway, so every time I would watch that whole season, every time Amy would say the dark is getting darker, I would yell, and Leon's getting larger. Anyway, so I have content warning. There's child harm that happened in the past, but it's just talked about. It's just talked about. That's all.
We just
talked about.
I mean, get over it.
It's just very briefly mentioned. And then their children in this story are in danger right now.
Now?
Right. Well, not today. Oh. Not today, January 27th, but when it was recorded.
Have you talked to them? Are they okay?
I'll give them a call when we are done.
Yeah. Text them. Okay.
And this is not funny. I don't know why we're laughing so hard. Okay. So, child harm in the past. Children in the house are in danger. at the time of this episode. And there is mention of rape in dreams. A woman has dreams that she's being raped.
Really? Oh, Jesus.
And that's, I mean, what I said just now is not much more than what you're going to hear later. A little bit more, but not much. Yeah. So,
that's got to be
it's still
horrible.
Yeah, horrible. So this takes place in Oakland, Oregon. The family is Jamie is the wife, mother. Scott is a husband / father. And there's 3 children. Braden, who is 16. Alex, who is 12. Hunter, who is 7. They're all boys.
Okay.
They show a portion of what I assume is their submission video, which is kind of new, I think, in season 13. I don't recall them doing that before. No. So they believe, it's just a very, very short snippet, and they believe that something there is going after the kids.
Oh, jeez.
So Amy arrives, and the first thing she says is,
"Oof, I do not like it in here."
First thing she says when she gets out of the car. She says there's a living person who is being influenced, and it's scaring her.
Oof.
So,
it's scaring Amy, or it's scaring the person
it's scaring Amy.
Influenced? Okay.
Steve arrives, and Jamie explains, Jamie's the mother, explains that they are constantly on edge. They hear voices, things move on their own, shadow figures,
never
mood
good.
changes. I know,
never good.
So many things.
Yeah.
I mean, so many things that happen over and over and over in these shows. Mm-hmm. And then she says that Hunter, the little one, gets really angry with his siblings, and he hits them and screams at him, and it's not like him at all. Jamie breaks down, and Steve offers his hanky. Takes his little hanky out and gives it to her.
God.
Okay. Yeah, take my hanky.
Cute. So cute.
You know. And I made a note, because we were talking about the way he dresses. I made a note in this one that he is dressed in, I wrote just a polo today. Just like
dress him down.
My notes I wrote, I mean, I assume he's wearing pants, but because I said just a polo. What I meant was he wasn't wearing his typical.
I mean,
gangster suit.
He takes casual Fridays really seriously.
Yeah. So she saw a big batwing creature, and she says,
When I first walked in, what I saw was like a big winged creature. And I'm like, oh, no.
And she thinks it's in a living person and is making them lash out.
No.
So we're talking possession.
Little boy. Yep. No, thank you. I'd like to leave, please. No.
You're here for a bit.
Shit.
Jamie, the mother, also says she's being watched in the shower.
Pervy demon.
Yes, pervy demon. She says her husband has to be in the bathroom with her when she takes a shower because she's too freaked out. Oh. And Steve asked her what the thing looks like, and or how big it is or something. Or he asked her to describe it. I can't remember exactly.
Probably. Yeah.
And she says it's about the size of like a 9 to 10-year-old child. Then go back to Amy. She sees someone standing in the doorway, and she thinks it's the winged thing. Mm-hmm. But she says the people think it's an illusion. And then she says,
So I feel like a living person here knows that this is a potential threat to their life.
So this isn't like your run-of-the-mill haunting. Like we're kicking it up a notch.
This is creepy town, big time. Mm-hmm. Jamie feels like somebody gets into the bed with her. She said she felt somebody run their finger down her butt and onto her leg.
No, thank you.
Yep. And she has really bad, vivid nightmares of being raped, or what she says is touched by evil.
Wow.
She says she can't see it, but it's a dark presence that she knows wants to kill her, which is what Amy just experienced.
Yep.
When Steve asks if she's going to leave, if she would leave, if Amy said she should, she said she wants to stay and fight.
Okay, this is not like a burglar. Like, this is demons.
Yeah. I don't know why humans think they can fight demons and aliens and shit, but
nope.
Yeah. Especially people who don't have any experience. But
yeah. And who can't see them the way Amy can. Like,
Yeah.
at least Amy could stand a chance because she would be able to see them. These people have no clue.
Right.
They're
Right.
only seeing him, I'm assuming, when this entity lets them
Yeah.
see them.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I would assume so, yeah.
Yeah.
So they cut to Amy and she says, I would be afraid to go to bed at night.
Yeah.
She said the female is being attacked and the woman knows that it wants to kill her.
Wow.
Then Steve goes and talks to the husband.
Are they in the garage?
No, they weren't in the garage. I know, isn't that weird?
Yeah.
They were in the living room. So weird. So this guy's a big dude. He used to be a cop and he was in the military. Mm-hmm. He said he was sitting on the couch and he felt a thump on the back of the couch and he thought maybe a dog banged into it or something because they have a couple dogs. And he turned around and there was nothing there. He sometimes sees a shadow figure racing down the hallway, which is the size of a child. He said it was about this high, about to his elbow. And he was a big guy, like I said. He was 6'2" or so. So, good size.
Yeah.
Probably up to here on me.
Yeah, probably like my head. Like
Yeah.
normal me size.
Right. So he also sees a giant shadow thing that is about 6 feet tall. And he woke up one middle of the night and it was leaning over his wife. He jumped out of bed
Oh my God.
to get a better look or to get close to it, and it was gone. And he is 100% sure he was not dreaming.
Yeah.
He sensed
or
it was...
boozing.
Or boozing, exactly.
No boozing.
Steve didn't ask him if he was boozing this time.
Aw, Steve.
But
Getting lazy in season 13.
maybe. So he says he feels helpless. And he starts, as he's talking to Steve about how he feels helpless, and he says it makes him feel useless, and he's out breaking up, his voice is cracking and everything.
Yeah.
And Steve says, not being able to protect your family is the worst feeling in the world for a man. Which I don't know how much we want to get into here.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, society and patriarchy has done a fucking number on men as well.
Yep.
For men
He
to have to
could've-
feel that way. Mm-hmm. Granted, it's men doing that to other men. I mean, it's men that created that whole thing.
Do we remember the Golden State Killer and the guy who stood up and said if he attacked me, I would never let him assault my wife, and he did?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, don't remember that, but
I was right there in the room. Yeah. No, I do remember that story.
yeah. So it's, it's that whole macho bullshit,
I know.
lesser of a man, quote unquote, and
Right.
it's bullshit.
Right.
Should be the worst feeling for a person.
For
to not be-
anybody. Anybody, I mean, I don't know why it has to be the man who has to protect everybody. There's plenty of badass women that could kick the ass of something or somebody.
Yeah. We're going to go down a road there, but
Yeah, well, that's for another time.
yeah.
That's for a bonus episode.
Yes.
Anyway, so then Amy, she sees a dead child. He has light hair, and she sees a child shadow figure.
Never good.
She thinks the living people would feel it jumping on the couch or the bed.
Like
Which is
he
what
did.
Dad just explained.
Yep.
So Steve is talking to the kids. He's got 3 of them sitting on the couch, and he's talking to them. The middle kid says that the TV turns off and on randomly, and he hears voices. The oldest kid says he hears toys shuffling behind the couch, and when he gets up to look, there's nobody there, and his brothers are asleep. Then the littlest one, Hunter, cute little boo,
Yep.
he says he feels an invisible finger touching his back, and that sometimes his tummy hurts real bad.
Sometimes, my tummy just hurts really bad.
Oh my
And
God.
then Steve says,
There's some bad stuff he's got going on here.
So Brooklyn.
then Amy sees a shadow child and the dead child together in the kids' room. She's worried because this means that the shadow has successfully killed a child.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yep. She thinks that it wants a living child in the house. Okay, so now Steve is investigating. He meets with Janice Sellers, who is a genealogist.
Not a gynecologist.
Not a gynecologist. Janice talks about the Maupin family. They were early European settlers in 1866. The dad was driving his cart, who's a farmer, cotton farming, and he was drunk while he was driving the cart. He flipped it. he was suffocated by the bales of cotton.
Wow.
His son was with him. His son's name is Captain. His son was with him on the truck, but did not get hurt. He grew up, took over the farm, married a woman, Minnie. Her name was Minnie Maupin. He died with heart problems in the house. Then his wife, Minnie, died 2 years later, also with heart problems. In 1936, she was 67. So, and Steve meets with the genealogist. He's now wearing his suit again.
Oh, okay. Okay. Good. I was uncomfortable with him not being in.
I know.
So.
It was weird seeing him without his suit on. I know. So Amy sees a dead woman with very long hair and a twisted face who lived her life there. She saw her as a young girl who was doing farm work and had heart issues. And then she sees her grow older and die, and she's in a decomposing / mummified state.
Oh.
Yeah. She says she's very powerful and is harvesting electricity. So the living may see things going off and on. And lights doing things.
Or TV.
Yes. So then Steve goes to talk to Jeff Davis. I can't remember what his deal is. I think he's a historian.
Yeah.
And he found a story about a love triangle turned deadly.
No. Love triangles never end well.
Nope. It's 2 men, 1 woman. Alfred Kincaid and Samuel Brown. They were both in love with Miss Mattoon. She doesn't have a first name. Miss Mattoon. One of the guys killed the other. Brown killed Kincaid, shot him in the chest. And it happened nearby since the whole town, even right now, the whole town is only a square mile. And back then it was even smaller.
Yeah.
The kid was found guilty, was sent to jail. He was let out of his jail cell to go to breakfast, and he disappeared. He was never seen again.
What? Do they think he escaped?
Yes, they did find that 2 bars had been sawed off of the windows. So I'm assuming that's what happened. But it's interesting that he was never found.
Right.
Like, I don't know. I guess
like the Alcatraz guys that escaped.
Right.
I forget their names, but
I don't remember either. In side note, in my other podcast, Volsteadland, we talk about Machine Gun Kelly.
Yep. Just listen.
He was one of the first prisoners in Alcatraz. His number was like 175 or something.
Wow.
Okay, so Amy sees 2 men fighting. One has a gun. She's outside now. She's not in the house. She sees them rolling around on the floor, and she goes, oh, okay, I get it. They always fight. These 2 are always fighting. So the living people might hear stuff rolling around on the ground, which is them rolling around on the floor. She hears a gun go off and knows that one of them was murdered. So then Amy sees a person is becoming unbalanced. A living person is becoming unbalanced, throwing things, punching things, lashing out, and it's all from this winged thing. And she thinks that this child who's doing this can actually cause harm to the family members. Then we go to the sketches. She sketches the old angry dead woman who's in her 60s and the winged demon who is possessing the little boy.
Okay.
So now we're at the reveal.
Yep.
And I think this is one of the early ones where Amy is not in the room with people.
Oh,
She's on a monitor. Steve says she is in another room in the house so that she can concentrate and focus on the case as well as the dead without any distractions. It is also in the time of COVID.
Yeah.
So I'm going to guess that it's because of that more than anything else.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't really make any sense.
No, especially given that they've done 12 seasons with them not doing that.
Right.
And she hasn't had any issue focusing her.
Right. Right. And it would make sense if, like, she was at the hotel or something. But they say she's in, like, the bedroom down the hall. I would think that she would be distracted by ghosts there, too.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me, but whatever. I'm not saying they're lying. I'm just saying it's confusing to me.
Yeah.
So first, she talks about the dead woman who was a hard worker. She suffered from heart issues that ended up killing her, died in her 60s. She said she can get very angry and harvest the electricity, and that's why they have electrical issues. The family confirms this is what happens, and they explain what they see, and Amy verifies it's her.
Yep.
Steve then goes, hey, that sounds like Minnie Maupin. She had this myocarditis and she passed away on the property. And he shows the photo of Minnie and her husband, Captain. Mm-hmm. He asks if it could be her. And Amy says, well, I had a sketch done.
What a nice segue.
Steve pulls out the sketch. They put it next to the picture. You saw it, right?
Yep, I'm looking at it right now.
Identical.
Yeah.
Looks just like her.
Even the hair.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's yeah, bananas.
It's like, again, like they were drawing it from that picture, like with the guy last week.
Like the grandpa one from last time,
Yep. Yeah, they look exactly the same.
So then Amy talks about the two kids who are holding hands, one of them, which is a legit dead kid, and the other one's a shadow kid. She said the shadow kid creates a ruckus. Amy asks the parents if they've felt anything, and the mom and dad are like, yep, we know that one.
Yeah.
Amy explains how the shadow kid tricked a kid to stay with him, which reminds me of, like we talked about last time, what happened to Amy when she was young.
Yep, to bite the cord. Yeah.
Yep, very similar.
Yep.
So this shadow kid keeps the other kid with it so that it can entice other children. Mm-hmm. She does believe it has its sights set on one of the children here. Mm-hmm. And now both parents are crying.
Oh, I'm sure they are. I would cut the interview short and I'd be like, we have to go pack now.
Oh, well, hang on. So, yeah, let's go pack up.
Yeah,
so,
like, let's leave.
Yeah, so Steve asks Jamie to talk about what the kids see and then asks Amy which one the shadow is after. And she says, Alex, the middle kid, where, you know,
Hunter's the one.
At least I thought up to now that it was Hunter.
Yeah.
And then Amy gets like, and she goes, I want to talk about something that I'm really worried about. And she tells him about the winged creature. Oh, my God. She says it is making them feel sick. And all I can think of is poor little Boo Boo's tummy.
Yep.
And it's making him angry and he is showing violent behavior. She thinks we're dealing with a possession. Mm-hmm. And now everybody at the table is crying, including me. Not that I was at the table, but
you should have been.
I felt like I was. She says there's a possibility that the child could do harm to the family. Mom loses it and gets up to take a break. Mm-hmm. I don't think she was packing, but she said, I gotta get out of here. And Dad follows, and then you can hear her mic's still on, and you can hear her. And she's like, "It's Hunter. I know it's Hunter." And they come back, and Steve says to the mom, "Are you okay, sweetie?" And then he says, "I want to give you this," and pulls out a hanky that is like a foot and a half by a foot and a half, and they all kind of chuckle.
Oh my God!
So I wanted to thank Steve for lightening the mood.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So then Mom talks about Hunter and his tummy issues, and Amy confirms it is possessing him. Mm-hmm. She knows that a woman here is feeling fingers on her, and her legs are being forced open. And that's when Jamie explains her rape nightmares. And Scott talks about how he woke up one night and the creature was hovering over Jamie. And then Steve opens, this is sketch number 2.
Yeah.
And
no, thank you.
Steve opens the envelope and says, fuck. At least I think that's what he said. They bleep it, but that's what his mouth looked like. And he shows the photo to everyone, and they all gasp and are all like covering their eyes and crying. Amy says it's pure evil and it's possessing Hunter, and it wants to take out as many people in this house as possible. So then we go to commercial. Yeah. And then Steve says,
I don't know who looks more surprised here, you or me. Now, you thought there was something deadly here, but I don't think any of us thought there was a winged demon in your house.
Oh, Steve, you scamp with your jokes. But ching.
So she says, you have to take care of the demon and the possession. So you need a demonologist to come in and do an exorcism of Hunter, or on Hunter, however you say that, and then an exorcism of the location. Steve asks for confirmation that this will get rid of the winged demon, and Amy says, yeah, that should get rid of that fucker. And then next up, they have to get a psychic medium.
Is that how she said it?
So she's a psychic medium.
Especially if Amy listens. She's going to be like, you bitches are making
Quit making fun of me. God.
We love you, Amy. We love you.
Amy. Yeah, I have joy when she says words funny.
I do too. I think it was a heart attack. I love it.
Yeah, she's so cute. Okay, so anyway, next up, they have to get a psychic medium to come in and get Minnie out of there.
Mm-hmm. Get out of there, Minnie. Minnie, you stinker.
So they have to get rid of the shadow child. She would like the two who come in, the psychic medium and the demonologist, to come back later and remove the shadow person and the child. Mm-hmm. And if they can't get rid of it, then it would be what she called a move situation.
Okay. They
promised to do what Amy suggested, and then the update is 6 weeks later, and it's a video update.
Oh, new.
They say, yeah, it's the husband and wife, and they say, things are great. The demonologist cleared the house and property, and, quote, the feeling here is amazing. They thanked him, but they didn't say anything about an exorcism of Hunter. Mm-hmm. They said that she cleared the house and the property. So I don't know if they did an exorcism on the child or not. Or maybe just clearing the property and the house was enough.
Or what if it's darker and the demons possess them all? And is just telling them to say that so people leave them alone.
Oh my goodness.
But really, everybody succumbed to the demon.
I don't like that answer.
I don't. What? It's 9:30 and I'm in my basement. You think I like that answer? I don't like thinking of it.
So that's that.
We need the Warrens stat.
Yeah, except that they were
frauds,
full of shit,
and they're dead. So it's really rough.
Are they both dead? I thought she was still alive. Oh no, she just died. She died fairly recently.
Yeah, he died a while ago, I think.
Yeah,
and
yeah. I think they were kind of.
I think that's the consensus now. That they were kind of. Yeah, full of.
I mean, they might have had some,
but I think they exaggerated it.
Yes,
way.
Yes.
Way.
Yes.
Way.
For fame and doll hairs. Not to make an Annabelle joke or anything, but.
Oh, and there we go. And now we've brought Annabelle into this. We were having a nice night, just talking about demons.
Just talking about demons and
now you bring her into it. I won't even say her name. Like Emma, and That's Why We Drink, they don't say, I don't think they say Robert the Doll. I think they call it RTD. They won't even say, they won't even say his name.
Oh.
Yeah.
I need to listen to that podcast more. I've only heard a few episodes, and I like it.
I love it so much. So they were supposed to come fucking April of 2020, and I bought tickets, and then what happened?
I remember that. Mm-hmm.
So then they were supposed to, it got pushed back to August of 2021, and then it got pushed back to January of 2022, and now it's pushed back to May. And I'm going by myself because I'm like, I need to see them because I love Em and Christine. I can't, like, when I see them, it'll be like Wine and Crime where I just fangirl. I was sweating so hard. Like,
that was so fun for listeners. Megan and I went to see the Wine and Crime gals do a live show.
When they were first, I think it was when they were first getting to be really known.
Yeah, they weren't as famous as they are now. Mm-hmm. But it was a blast. It was really fun.
It was so fun.
Super fun.
They were, yeah.
Until we were outside waiting for our lift and...
Oh, God. I forgot about that.
Criminal type
ran past us,
racing down the street, nearly crashed into us,
and then
we were like, "What the fuck was that?" And as we turn around, two cops are running right after him.
Yep,
fast as lightning. He runs across the street into traffic, nearly got hit, and then ran down like 7th Street or something.
Yep. And then Amy and I looked at each other and we were like, maybe we should wait inside.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh my God, I forgot about the.
And then we got in our lift. I know.
Yeah.
We got in our lift and we told the guy what happened. He's like, well, you're in the car with me. You're safe now. And I'm like, well, unless we get carjacked.
Unless you're a murderer.
Yeah.
We don't know you.
We don't know.
Brandon. I don't know. That wasn't his name.
I don't remember his name.
I don't remember his name. He was probably.
We got home safe.
Yeah, we did.
Long story short. But it was a little scary.
intense. I do not like downtown Minneapolis.
Oh, I don't go downtown at night anymore.
No.
After I moved away from uptown and I moved out to the burbs, I am so fucking soft now.
Yeah.
Like, I lived right in the middle of uptown.
Yeah, you did.
Shit was going on.
Yep.
It was fine. I didn't care. I felt fine. I felt safe. And just before we moved out of uptown, people were getting mugged like at 3 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon.
Yep.
A block away from my house. And so when we decided to move, and it wasn't because of that, my husband just wanted to move out of the house we were in, probably because it was haunted.
Yeah, it was.
But it was definitely haunted. That's why I wanted to stay, by the way. But yeah, when we decided to move, I was like, you know what? I think maybe I'm okay with this.
Yeah.
I think I'm okay moving out to the burbs as much as I fought it. But now that I'm here, I love it. Thank you for listening. The Activity Continues will be back after this short break. Hi, friends. Do us and yourselves a favor and check out our affiliate, 3 Spirit Drinks. They create plant-based, non-alcoholic elixirs that are cruelty-free and vegan, and they are designed to give you some of the benefits of alcohol without the hangover and other side effects. If you're looking to cut down on alcohol but still want the buzz, check them out. The link is us.3spiritdrinks.com and use the promo code TheActivityContinues for 15% off your entire order. Hi everyone, Amy here. As you may have heard, since the ad's been running for about 3 weeks now, I have another podcast. It's called Volsteadland, and it's mainly about a Minneapolis mobster from the 1930s called Kid Can. Well, there's a new book out about him right now, and it is so good. And the book is called Minnesota's Most Notorious Mobster, The Making and Breaking of Kid Can by author Ron DeBellew. I'm telling you this because you can get it on Audible. If you go to theactivitycontinues.com/audible, you can get a 30-day free trial by using our link there. That's plenty of time to read this amazing book. And when you get the book, check out page 6 in the acknowledgement section, and you might just see a name you recognize. Spoiler alert, it's me. Anyway, check it out. If you're interested in true crime and ghosts of the past, you will enjoy this story. Theactivitycontinues.com/audible to start your free trial. And the book is called Minnesota's Most Notorious Mobster, The Making and Breaking of Kid Can. Hi everyone, Amy here. Welcome, and we're glad you found us. I just wanted to make a note here that this is one of our oldest episodes, number 3 out of 147 as of the day I'm recording this, which is May 20th, 2025. Last night, we recorded a revisit episode of the one Megan is about to cover here. It's called Jumped, and it took place in the Palmer House Hotel in Sauk Center, Minnesota. It was from Dead Files Season 9. We decided to revisit it because AP had already written up a segment for our Haunted Minnesota Files series on the Palmer House. So we decided to use that along with a second look at this episode, both ours and the Dead Files. Upon listening, we realized that we might have been a tad harsh toward the clients, knowing what we know now about how the Dead Files shows are pieced together. You'll hear more about that when you listen to the episode number 147 called The Palmer House Revisit. It will be out June 13th, 2025. So I'm here today to say, take this with a grain of salt. We were upset that somebody would call in Amy and Steve and then refuse to do what Amy may suggest, if she suggested leaving. We were also aware that they were doing quote-unquote ghost tours, and we knew Amy Allen would be mad about that. So did Steve, as he warned the client up front, who seemed not to care. Seemed being the operative word here. As I've mentioned, we've since learned the way the Dead Files is edited can sometimes be, let's just say, deceiving. I've been in contact with Kelly, the client, since then, and she told me that she had a really hard time when this episode aired. She received scary death threats from Dead Files fans, and no one deserves that. I know, I've received those too. I still don't know the whole story and maybe never will, but I'm here to apologize for assuming that what we saw on screen actually happened and made judgments based on that assumption. Our intentions were not to be mean-spirited, and we hope that you can enjoy it. Let us know your thoughts. email us or DM or whatever. All contact information is in the show notes. Thank you.
Anyways, okay, so on to my story. And you guys, I've got so many feelings, okay? Like, I took 9 pages of notes. And normally I take like 4. So.
Oh my goodness.
At the end, though, I have a feeling I'm going to go on a rant just because. Anyway, we'll get to it. So.
Good.
So we get there and. So Steve arrives and he's interviewing Kelly. And this takes place in Sauk Center, Minnesota, which is why I did it.
Oh, right.
Because it's Minnesota.
Have you ever been to Sauk Center?
No, isn't that by St. Cloud?
I don't know where it is. I've never been there.
I think it's by St. Cloud because they said, Steve's like, it's about an hour and a half northwest of the Twin Cities. And I'm like, you're so Brooklyn. Or Jersey. I don't know.
Isn't that actually, though, like a Minnesota thing to say the time? As opposed to saying...
It was. Yeah, I'm saying his accent was.
Oh, his accent, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, don't most other people that live in other states, don't they say it's 15 miles west of or whatever? And then we here in Minnesota are like, it's 20 minutes.
Yep. Oh, so it is northwest of St. Cloud even.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, it is. She's far. So that's why
Canada.
I did this. I know. Get your passports ready. So he
get your passports ready. We're going to Sauk Center to
AKA Canada.
It's a hotel.
Yeah, it's called
right?
the Palmer Hotel. Mm-hmm. And so he sits down and interviews Kelly. So she sits down with him and she is like, this place is important to me. No matter what Amy tells me, I'm not going to leave. I love it here. She said she says at the end that this is her purpose in life is to be a steward for this hotel. And I'm like, okay.
Okay.
But then she said she's questioning her safety. She said she hears footsteps, she sees objects move, sees shadow figures. People report being touched and being pushed. And this includes both employees as well as guests. Like, it's not just her, it's everyone. So she said there's so much activity that she actually has a binder for guests to write down their experiences. And then she keeps
binder.
A binder. Yep. So they write it on a piece of paper and it's very organized.
Right. Okay. Well, so right there, red flag that she's liking this activity a little bit too much.
Yep. Oh my God. Did you hit the nail on the head? We'll get into it. So Steve's like, well, how does it affect employees? So she said they randomly quit. She said they have extreme and sudden mood shifts. They become argumentative. They become quarrelsome. And she said it also affects her. She's anxious and she gets angry easily and she's short-tempered. So they go in the kitchen and Kelly says, she said, suddenly I'll get super, super nauseous with no explanation out of nowhere. And when I leave, it gets better. She said terrible headaches as well, just completely affecting her physically. She said she hears voices, male, female. She said she hears kids laughing, kids playing, and Steve goes, well, this is a hotel. It's very busy. Could it be guests? And she goes, no, most of the time it happens after they're closed. And then she said one time she was passing through the kitchen and a large mixing bowl flew 10 feet across the kitchen. And you can see it on top of those, like restaurant style fridges that are really tall and silver. So Steve reaches up and he's like pushing it. He's like, this is heavy. It would just fall off. And she was like, no. And he goes,
You're damn lucky it's that, not a knife.
You could have been killed.
Yeah. And she goes, I know.
You're telling me, man.
I know. And the director's like, cut. That was great. Just a little more feeling. I'm just kidding. No. So then they go in the basement, which fucking don't, as I'm in the basement, people don't go in your basements. And then we get Wyatt. So there's a very large black shadow in the basement. Black shadow being in the basement. She said it's very large. It's broad-shouldered. The reason she called them in is because she's been jumped. And when they say jumped, they mean that the spirit has entered and taken over her. And so she said it felt manly and she thinks it wants her to leave.
So what was the feeling like?
It was absolutely like somebody had complete control over my body.
So then we move to Wyatt. He's lived at the hotel for maybe 7 months. And Steve is like, do you think it's dangerous? And he goes, well, it's not dangerous, but he's worried. And so he said when he was sleeping, he felt someone crawl into bed with him, put its arm across his chest like Jamie. Right. And he said he felt like he was being shocked by an electric fence as it was touching him. And then he said he thought of climbing out the window. Has he
been shocked by an electric fence before? Like, that seems kind of...
That might explain a lot.
Like, electrocuted, I get, but, like, that was very specific.
That would explain a lot. So then he said he went in the basement.
So I went into the basement as quick as snapping my fingers. Something had entered me. The insides of me, it was almost like they had changed. My emotional state had changed. I felt like a sickness had just kind of embedded inside of me.
So then Steve is like, okay, so you felt something crawl into bed with you. You've been jumped, but you don't think this is dangerous. And Wyatt goes, well, I can see how maybe you would think that. I can't. So then we go, I can't with you. So we go to Brett, who's Kelly's husband. And you guys, the plot thickens. Here's where we learn about ghost tours. And they're doing ghost tours. And Steve goes, I'm going to tell you right now, Amy's not going to like that. He's worried.
Amy going to be pissed.
She's pissed. So Brett is worried that she's going to bring something home, that something's going to attach to her, which, valid fear.
Very valid.
They hear glasses, so they're standing in the bar at this point, and they hear glasses clinking together. Not at the moment, but, overall.
Not right now.
Not right now.
January 27th, 2020.
9:37 p.m. I mean, they might, but... And he said one time a bottle suddenly shattered out of nowhere. Like, no reason for it. Yikes. So then they have random Palmer guests. Like, these people don't have names or anything. They're just people who stayed there. It's like, okay, so...
And they talk to them on camera?
Yeah, they talk to them
But they don't give their names?
I don't think they gave them a name. So I named them Woman 1, Man, and Woman 2.
Okay.
So Woman 1 said she heard a noise like an explosion. The man said he stayed overnight and a wicker chair moved on its own and he saw shadow figures. And then a Woman 2 said she was shoved by a shadow figure.
Yeesh.
So now we go to Jill, I don't know how to say, Abahassian. She's a historian. And she talks about the original owner, Cassius Sprague, who was an early pioneer. And he was a soldier in one of the bloodiest battles in the Dakota War. It was the Battle of Fort Ridgely. And on December 26, 1862, 38 Native Americans were hung. And it was the largest mass execution in U.S. history to date.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
And, of course, I've never heard of it.
No.
Because we don't teach that shit
and it's in our schools. It's in our state.
Yep. Maybe they do now, but when I was a kid, we didn't learn any of that.
No.
Nope.
So then we go to the History Museum, and we get kind of a Rocky montage with Steve looking like it's
Rocky?
Yeah, like he's like a montage of him going through newspaper clippings. Literally, he's holding a magnifying glass, like looking at. I'm like, Steven,
like he's Inspector.
Steven, we have computers for this. And he's like, oh, just like, it's like legit. I wrote Rocky montage. So then he talks to Mark Roberg, who's a reporter. And the details get juicy because on April 17th, 1929, a policeman was found killed with a bullet in his head. Yikes. The bullet entered his nose, next to his nose and up into his head. The way bullets go. The coroner ruled it an accidental discharge of a firearm. However, the round that was found does not match the rounds that were in his gun. And his gun was fully loaded. So Steve thinks it was a homicide.
Obviously.
And it was a cover-up.
Mm-hmm. So, wait. The police are covering up something? That never happens.
That never happened.
That can't be it.
So, So, Steve was like, well, I would rule that a homicide. Very good, Steve.
That's why you were a homicide cop for so long.
And you have your ring.
Yep.
And it's shown in every shot. In 1898, Cassius bought the hotel. And then at that time, it was called Sauk Center, I think, hotel.
The hotel was? Okay.
Yeah. And then 2 years later, on June 27th, the hotel caught fire, burned to the ground. They think that the fire started in the kitchen. Nobody died. So Cassius collected the insurance money and sold it to a farmer. He then went into banking and was like super duper successful. Made a lot of money. When he died, he had 12 banks. He owned 12 banks. So they then talked to former, what did I write? Talked to former Hitty Fire Chief John Egan. There were 4 fires on this property. So in September 1873, a barn caught fire and burned down from a cigar thrown in a haystack. Don't smoke.
And don't throw your fucking stogie in a haystack.
Where should I put this? Should I put it out in the water?
I'll throw it in the highly flammable stack of hay.
Haystack. What could go wrong?
Come on,
let's go have some moonshine and kick it off.
That's for next week.
That's for next week. Yeah, I know. So then February 3rd of 1885, there was another fire, but they don't know how or when that started. Then the biggest fire was July 31st in 1905. This made headlines. There were 45 people trapped in the hotel. 8 employees were trapped up on the 3rd floor, and they had to jump out the window onto a canopy. Oh. Not to their deaths, as I wrote here. Nobody died.
Nobody died.
No.
Okay. Good.
What was I smoking earlier when I wrote these notes? Nothing. Nobody died.
So you wrote they jumped to their death, but nobody died.
Yeah.
I
wrote they had to jump out a window onto a canopy to their deaths. Wow. It's dark.
Plot twist. They did not die.
In an M. Night Shyamalan twist, nobody died.
That M. Night Shyamalan twist would be a little bit different, but it would be like they were actually not even at
They were actually dreaming, and they were camping, and they woke up
They
and
were
had
all
s'mores.
dead already. That's why they couldn't die.
Oh, my God, yeah. So, okay, so now we go to Amy. We're done with Steve. So she steps and she goes into the bar, and she sees a skeleton dude. And this guy is prominent throughout the walk. He's the main guy. And he's making her really, really stressed out. She said living people would feel sudden and extreme nausea, projectile vomiting. And she said there's a lot of residual energy all over the property. So she said people would have health symptoms like flu or cold symptoms. She said they would hear partying, glasses clinking, conversations, etc. She also sees shadow people but they're not actually shadow people. She said she thinks they're dead men and they're confused and she thinks they're crazy. Her word, not mine. So then they go into the kitchen and she said she sees a living woman being pushed out the door. There's a dead woman and she hates women, hates them, and she can interact with them. And so she can interact with, she can throw things and make the objects move. And so that's where, if you remember, the bowl got pushed, and thank God it wasn't a knife. So now they go into the basement, and Amy says, I'm not comfortable down here. She said she's constantly having to push the skeleton face man away from jumping her.
Jeez.
She said he's been trying to jump her the entire time she's been doing the walk. He indicated that he's deaf, and he likes killing people. So the skeleton dude, she said, is very protective of the area, and he gets physical with the living. So he'll push people, they'll get hit, slapped, punched. And she said with the skeleton man, she sees a bank. He had a lot of money, and he lived around 1890. And the 1890s, she said, were very important to him. And he killed a lot of people when he was alive. So he was not a great person.
Great.
So they're upstairs, and all of a sudden you hear Amy coughing, and she sees she's coughing, she's tasting smoke, she sees a lot of smoke, she sees a woman trapped, she said she's dizzy, she's panicking, she can't breathe, and then she says she sees a man who lost his left eye. She said she can't see out of her left eye. Says he was shot in the eye. So then we get to the reveal, and it's our buddies Kelly and Wyatt. So Amy's like, okay, this is a gathering spot for the dead. And of course she's doing the sketch before this, and it's like, first of all, the sketch artist is super cute. He's kind of like hipster, but like a badass hipster with like a sexy beard and like tatted up hands and rings.
That tracks because I looked at the sketches when you sent them to me, and at least the one looks like it should be in a comic book.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that tracks.
So then she says it's a gathering spot for the dead. Huge collection of residual energy all over the property, she said. She said the living will hear parting. They're consistently being exposed to the residual energy, she said, can make people sick. And that's when you get your headaches, your nausea, your vomiting, all of that. So she said, and then she went up to the third floor and she tasted smoke. And that's when Steve recaps the fires. And then Kelly's like, I had no idea of any of this. So then we go into the dining room. And she talks about the man who is dead with no eyes, she said, but he's in denial. She said his death happened so fast that he doesn't know he's dead.
Oh my God, can you imagine?
No.
Like, why can't everybody see me?
Yeah.
Why can't you hear me?
Yeah. Can you imagine how many years he spent shouting at people? Like, trying to get them to hear him? So then we go, she said, she talks about the third floor, and she said she sees 4 to 6 shadow beings who were severely mentally ill when they were alive. And she said they are not shadow people. They were, living people who have died. And she said the living who were exposed to them might have mood changes and they might see them. And that's when Kelly talks about the employees getting angry. And then she said she feels like this hotel is her purpose in life, that she's supposed to be a steward. And that's when Steve says, this is, I told you that she won't leave. Like, she won't leave. And so that's when, when Amy talks about the dead woman in the kitchen pushing the female out the door, and then they talk about the mixing bowl incident. So then she said, I'm going to refer to...
The mixing bowl incident.
Yeah. I just named it. Yeah. So there's a main male entity, and she said she's referring to him as Skeleton Face, and she said she's very concerned about him. She said that he's powerful and he's dangerous and he's very secretive. She said she did get that he was a white guy, had lots of money, lived in the 1800s, and he's killed several people. And that's when Steve's like, well, I just got this guy named Cassius. And he started talking about Cassius and how he was in the war. And Amy said, no, it's not him. She said this guy's killings were not known. They were not public knowledge. Because Steve is like, well, he was in a war. I mean, I'm sure and then he talked about the mass execution and Cassius was involved in that. And Amy said, no, it's not him.
I love it when she does that. When Steve's like, I know who you're talking about. And then she's like, no.
Sit the fuck down, Steven. So then she said she's very concerned that he can mimic voices, which scares it. Like, I had an experience with this. Yeah, yep. I was in an apartment and I was with my ex. And I will swear on a stack of Bibles that he came home and taught, and we had a conversation. I was in the shower and he came home, and then I heard the door open and close. And then I asked, I got out of the shower and I asked him, I said, where did you go? And he said, what do you mean, where did I go? And I said, well, you were here and then you left. Like, did you go get cigarettes? Like, where did you go? And he said, I haven't been here. And I said, shut the fuck up. Yes, you have. I said, we literally had a conversation. Like, we had a conversation. And he was like, no, it's not. It wasn't me. Didn't happen. He even posted on Facebook. He's like, oh, Megan's going crazy. Oh, no. I'm like, well, thanks for gaslighting me.
I was going to say that sounds like it might be gaslighting more than paranormal shit.
Yeah. I mean, and I wouldn't put it past him because he was a douche to do something like that. But with all the activity I had in that apartment, I believe it was something. But she said, yeah, it can mimic voices. So Kelly said that's a common occurrence, which funny, Kelly, you didn't mention that before. She said employees will go looking for coworkers who are calling to them. And she said they'll go looking all over and find that they're alone. So she said he's going to do what he can to get to the living. And that's when she brings out the sketch. And so, of course, Steve opens it and he's like, oh, and she's like, So you see the sketch and it's terrifying because what it is it's like a mobster almost. So Skeleton Guy has kind of a pinstripe suit on and he's punching a person in the back of in their back. And then in the corner, you see another spirit holding another spirit hostage. Like this person is sitting in a chair and holding this person around the neck. So this is what she calls Skeleton Face. And she said he's the main entity. And she said he's doing what he can to bring out the living, to get the living. And then she talks about the people, the 4 to 6 shadow figures. And so she brings those up. And that one is really disturbing too, because the shadow figures, some of them aren't even solid. Like they're unraveling. They're I don't want to say shadowy because they're shadowy, but they're blurry. They're not solid.
And then there's the one hanging from the ceiling.
Yeah, and there's one hanging from the ceiling. And Kelly has said that some of her employees have seen things crawling up the walls. They've seen shadow figures on the ceiling. So then Steve is like, well, what can they do? And then that's when Amy said,
I have something to say really quickly. A few days after my walk, I see that you're doing an event here. A ghost tour.
Yeah.
and
Someone's in trouble.
no, she didn't. So she's like, did you notice that when you, and she goes, how long have you been doing these ghost tours? She said 4 to 5 years. And Amy said, did you notice that the activity increased when you started the ghost tours? And Kelly would say, I would say that's fair. You have all this, you're doing this, you're inviting these spirits, and then you're complaining that they're there. You're inviting them in, and you're complaining that they're there.
This rings of Elvis from our first episode.
Oh, it's
who's
Elvis.
like, oh, I did all this shit with my dandelion jar and I opened up a portal and now I'm shocked that there's some shit and a weird lady hanging over my bed.
What? So then Amy kind of lectures them and she's like,
A big reason of why I do what I do is the dead. These were people, and they still are people. It's easy, I think, for the living to have a disassociation with that concept.
That is absolutely
it is true.
Very true. I mean, you don't think of a ghost as being a person.
Yeah, you think of a ghost as being scary, or at least I do. So then Steve confronts Kelly. Oh, Kelly, you never talked about the ghost tours when you never brought this up.
I never thought of that as being a contributing factor.
So then Amy asks, she said, what do you want to be? She said, do you want the ghosts gone? And Kelly says, if they need moving on, I'm in complete support of that. And then, Steve is like, well, Wyatt, are you going to support her? And Wyatt's like, I'll do whatever she needs. I've known her for 7 months, but we're here to the death. So then Amy said they'll need a male medium who is also a chaos magician. And I looked and I could not figure out what a chaos magician is.
I meant to look up a chaos magician.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If anybody knows, please
let us know.
DM us, email us, leave a message on our phone or whatever.
Yep. Facebook message us.
Yeah. Let us know.
Yep.
If you are one,
please
you are welcome to come on and be a guest.
Mm-hmm.
We would love to interview you.
Yep. So she said they need a male medium who is also a chaos magician. He will collect the dead skeleton guy, remove him, and also will clear the basement of him and any residual energy. And so then it says the follow-up, Kelly is working with a chaos magician and the activity has slowed down.
So it continues.
It continues.
But at a slower pace.
Yeah.
Why would you bring in a medium and hope that they're not going to figure out something? Amy knows what the fuck she's doing.
Yeah.
This
isn't her first rodeo.
Exactly. She's been doing it for many years, and this is 9 seasons in. Mm-hmm. Have you ever watched the show? Mm-hmm. Nothing gets past her.
No.
That you've got to be honest.
So that's the end of that episode, but...
It was a good one.
Yeah, it was a really, really good one. I mean, in other news, we do have our first 5-star review.
Yay! It just came up just before we went to record today.
And it wasn't from either of us.
No, it wasn't. I've never interviewed my own podcast.
I've thought of it. I haven't done it, but.
But yeah, no, I got an email that said we had a new review. So it says, 5 stars. Amy and Megan do a phenomenal and entertaining job of recounting and dissecting episodes of The Dead Files. Their recaps give interesting detail and great insight. Overall, a fantastic listen, even if you haven't seen the episode they're talking about, or the show for that matter, though I suggest watching the show. It's pretty great.
It is pretty great. Thank you so much for that. We really appreciate the 5-star reviews.
I think it was Missy O. Bean,
Missy
I think
O.
was the username.
Oh.
Cute.
Maybe like Missy Toby for animals.
Missy O. Bean, do you have toe beans? Are you a kitty or a puppy?
That would be
That'd be great typing.
Especially with no opposable thumb.
So we're excited about that. If you like us, go ahead and you can leave a review either on our website, which is listed in the show notes, or on Apple, or I think Apple's the only other place that we would see it and would know about it. There's lots of places you can leave reviews. So go ahead and leave us a review if you like us. If you don't like us, there's no need to say anything.
Please don't. Yeah. We don't need those negative thoughts in our lives. Keep those to yourself. There's inward thoughts and there's outward thoughts, and those would be inward thoughts.
Exactly. I mean, if you have constructive criticism, we're happy to hear that.
Yes.
Yep. That's great. But just
don't be mean.
Don't be mean.
We're sensitive.
We're very sensitive.
I cry easily. I cry at Folgers commercials. Okay?
Oh my God. At Christmas, anytime I was watching TV and they had all those Christmas commercials on, like the Etsy ones. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. With the guy giving his grandpa the Christmas stocking with the black Santa on it.
Yep. Or the Budweiser commercials during Super Bowl.
Oh.
Any Budweiser commercial during the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I cry hard. Like the one with the horse.
Yes.
The man raised him when he was a baby, and then he became the Budweiser horse, and he sees him in the parade.
Yep.
I cried. Touches the heart. So the point of that is, please don't leave mean reviews.
Please be nice to us.
Yeah, be nice.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of The Activity Continues. We hope you'll join us next time. And we're going to try something new next time.
Ooh.
It's called a theme.
A theme?
Yeah.
So we're going to cover cases that take place in the South.
Yep.
So bring your moonshine. So Amy is covered, I think it's season 1, episode 17 on Hulu, and it's called Surrounded. And it takes place in Cedar Park, Texas, and it has to do with the KKK.
And Megan is going to do season 1, all the way back to season 1.
I know.
Episode 9, and it's called Scandal in the South.
And I believe it takes place in Georgia.
Ooh.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody. And we'll see you next time when
the activity continues.
This is just a disclaimer and sort of warning about this podcast. The Activity Continues podcast is in no way affiliated with The Dead Files, its production company, or any of its distributors. We are simply fans that love the show and love to talk about it and dissect it and, yes, make fun of it. But we do love it. And all of the opinions expressed herein are ours alone and have nothing to do with The Dead Files or any of its cast, crew, production, or distributors. And we swear. Enjoy.